Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, the 24th day of June 2025. I hope you're safe and healthy today. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in health, along with first responders, trying their best to save lives, enhance lives. Those also that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are victims of pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators of these things. Double curses on all those that profit from these things, and double curses on all the perverts that create the demands that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, and senior citizens, as well as military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them. For theirs is the kingdom. So the Eastern Conference, first of all, congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder, having completed a pretty much a dream season and beat the Indiana Pacers in a tough 7-game series and win the NBA championship for 2025. Congratulations to them. They're going to be around a while, those boys in Oklahoma City. Long-term sustainable winning is there, thanks to Sam Presti in their front office. So, but the Eastern Conference picture has greatly shifted. So we already knew that Jason Tatum ruptured his Achilles and that he was going to be out most of next season. That completely changes Boston. Boston just acquired Anthony Simons for Jrue Holiday. It's not going to help them. I understand what they're doing. Boston is right now looking at a $200 million tax bill. So when teams see what happens, teams have to make decisions between going for the chip and the tax bill. That's what it comes down to. When you build in your team, the way the current NBA system is built, players that make all NBA, all star, they get incentives. They get incentivized. They get more money. And the money ends up piling up when your team is good so that it's bumping against the tax, And so for Boston, they're even right now, after the trade, their estimated tax bill is, what is the estimated tax bill? The estimated tax bill is about $200 million. That's the equivalent of many salary for team salaries in the NBA. This is just their tax bill. Okay, so that's a lot of money. So they're gonna be paying that. So they just moved $32 million for Jrue Holiday and replaced it with $28 million for Anthony Simons. So it really didn't help them a lot. You got Kristaps Porzingis in the last year of his contract. He'll be unrestricted after this coming season at $31 million. You're going to have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at over $100 million between the two of them for the foreseeable future. 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 more seasons for over $100 million. Now the cap is rising, but those two are locked in. They're committed to those. Derek White, you got him for $28 million, then $30 million, then $33 million, then $35 million. You're locked in, okay? They have smaller salaries, your Sam Houses, your Peyton Pritchards. Those guys are also on the squad, but none of those guys are, they're ancillary pieces. They're very important, right? But they're not the piece they're not any major piece. So Boston, I'm saying all that to say Boston's in trouble. Okay, they're just in trouble. They're not going to be the same team as they were last year. They're just not. Of course, we already mentioned Tatum's not going to be there. They just had to trade, or they did trade, Jrue Holiday. I don't really see the benefit of trading Holiday at this time. The reason I say this because you only reduced your tax bill by $4 million, maybe $8 million once, they multiplied or whatever, but, okay. So, and Holiday, okay, but the Bucks had Holiday, they win the championship. They trade Holiday to try to get Dame Dollar, and they lose everything. Okay, Dame Dollar got hurt, but they weren't going nowhere. Even with Dame Dollar healthy, they weren't going nowhere. Okay. Meanwhile, Holiday goes to Boston, they win the championship. It's no coincidence. Holiday's a championship piece, always has been. Just didn't have the right team until those two. Now, in the case of the Bucks, that's what, in the classic example, I wish some knuckleheads, and again, I know these are just young teenagers that can't think past this coming Thursday, okay, to understand long-term sustainable winning. That's why you're getting all this idiocy on places like X. But that's a classic example of overreach. Milwaukee should have just kept their team together. But instead, they try to get Dame Dollar to try and ensure another championship, and it all collapses. Dame Dollar ain't no defensive player. He's past his prime. Then he hurt himself on top of that. Okay? So now they got to build over. They got a commitment from Giannis that he wants to stay in Milwaukee. And I kind of knew that already because, with all the talk, the idiots talk, we're going to get Giannis and we can get, no. Giannis is, if you've seen him from when he first came in the league at age 19, wide-eyed boy, he is a very loyal guy. Okay, yes, he wants to win, but he's loyal. And he's in a city that once he finishes, they're going to hang his jersey up in the rafters, and he's going to get a statue in front of the city. Okay, so I don't see him going anywhere. So even though they got nothing much they can do right now in terms of building a championship. They got to rebuild, and they're starting with Giannis, but he ain't got that many years left, 5 more years for another rebuild. But they got to do what they got to do. It is what it is. So Milwaukee's not a threat anyway. Boston now is not a threat. Okay? Because, put it this, they ain't winning. They won 61 games this past season. Tremendous season. And lost in the second round to the Knicks. Okay? And then first let me just say this. Please don't start talking about the Knicks can easily win the East. Some of y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about or how much you disrespect the NBA or teams or players by terms like that. When it comes to the NBA playoffs, there's nothing that you can put easily next to. This is the league, man. This ain't high school. This ain't AAU with a stacked team. This is the league, okay? There's nothing that's coming easily. Put it this way. You could say the Cleveland Cavaliers easily won the East 64 wins last year, and they easily got beat in the second round too. See? So this is the league. Nothing comes easily. Yes, Oklahoma City just won. They got a young team, but check out what happened. They slowly built that team with draft picks and development. Okay? So now, they got a team that their star player is in his prime. And they got a bunch of guys around him in their 20s. Some of them ain't reached their peak yet, and they're already all like J. Doug, already all NBA, and just 24 years old. And Dort, and yeah, they got a squad over there, but they built it carefully, slowly. The final piece was Hartenstein. They drafted Holmgren, waited for 2 or 3 seasons for him to get acclimated to the NBA, and now they got a squad. Okay, takes time, and it's not easy for them to get here. So Boston is not going to be a threat really this year with Jaylen Brown, and the team they got and the continuity and Derek White. They're going to win their share of games, but when it comes down to the end of the season, making that push for the chip, they don't have what it takes. Then you got Indiana, who just lost Tyrese Haliburton. I don't want y'all to get it twisted. Indiana's still going to be really good without Tyrese Haliburton. I know I'm saying crazy, right? Tyrese Haliburton's a star. He is. But Indiana is deep. They got a well-coached team. They got continuity. They're going to be there next year, even without Haliburton. Okay, so I wouldn't take a look at Haliburton and say, "Oh, Indiana's done." No, and they're getting Isaiah Jackson back. On top of that, they're getting Isaiah Jackson back as well. So I would not sleep on the Indiana Pacers next year. And then you're talking about, you're bringing back everybody. You got their whole team in terms of, except for Haliburton, you got Turner, Jackson coming back, Jarice Walker, Siakam, Neesmith, Benedict Mathurin are going to be better next year. Ben Shepherd's going to be better next year. Andrew Shepard's going to be better. And, you still got Obi Toppin. They got a squad. And they're going to be just as good this year. And they're still going to run 10 deep. Okay? So don't sleep and talk about this is easy. It's not. This is not easy. Indiana's going to be there. Cleveland is going to be back, right? They're going to retool. They're going to come back. They're going to play tough. And they're going to have that same team that lost in the second round this year. I'm not as worried about. I wasn't worried about them last year. I was surprised they started off so well. But I wasn't really concerned with Cleveland. As y'all remember, beginning of last season, I wasn't concerned with Cleveland or Philadelphia. Everybody was hyping Philadelphia because of Paul George. You can see how that turned out. No. But don't sleep on Detroit. Detroit just gave notice to the NBA. They're here. Okay? Cade Cunningham was still a neophyte type player this year. He's not going to be next year. And then you got the Thompson boy. And then you got Jaden Ivey coming back. And you still got the rest of the depth that they had this year. They're going to be there. Duran's going to be better. Beef Stews, Fentecchio, Ron Holland, Malik Beasley. They're going to be good. Tim Hardaway Jr. They got the right mix of veterans and young talent. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, okay? But, and again, don't sleep on Detroit. Don't sleep on Orlando. That move to get Desmond Bane, they going all in. They pushing their chips to the table in the middle, and they going all in. And if Suggs could stay healthy, which is a big if, because Suggs has had injury problems his whole NBA career. Very talented coming out of Gonzaga, knows how to play the right way, but he needs to be available, see? Availability hurts a lot of guys more than anything, a lot of teams more than anything. So they need him to be available. Wendell Carter, they need Mo Wagner to come back, which is all probable, okay? Franz Wagner. They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. And their bench with Anthony Black, Caleb Houston, they're going to be good, man. So that's another team. I'm expecting Miami to make a move. I mean, they got Khalil Ware in that system. He's developing very well. They're going to add another high-level draft pick this year. They're going to be tough. They're going to be tough. So the Knicks look a lot stronger now because they have the same team. See, continuity is very important. And they're played together, and they need to avoid injuries. If they can avoid injuries, the Knicks are going to have a good shot at taking the East next year. It ain't going to be easy, but they could do it, okay? Now, as far as coaches, they're now interviewing a coach from the Minnesota Timberwolves named, what's this boy named? Micah Nori. I don't know this dude. I know he's an assistant on Minnesota. I know that the Knicks have connections to Minnesota through Gusis, whatever his boy name is. And so that's probably why they're interviewing this guy. I don't expect him to get the job. But this will be the third official interview that they have had, which we know is Taylor Jenkins, we know is Michael Brown, and now this guy, Micah Nori, okay? Okay, I don't expect him to get the job. And also, I looked back 5 years ago, and you don't realize that, okay, the Don was hired. That was 2020. That was the COVID-shortened season. And then it was the bubble, right? And the Don was hired in March of that year. But they didn't hire Thibodeau until July 30th of that year, okay? They fired their coaches from the previous year, and they waited and they interviewed and took their time until July 30th when they really wanted, it come out later, they really wanted Thibodeau, but they did a lot of interviews. So this might go on until July with this here. We don't want that because all of us are antsy to get this coaching thing, especially if it's Taylor Jenkins, but it may keep going. So they're going to interview Micah Nori. Fine. And see what happens after that. But you got to get your coach in place, and they will. And your coach has got to get his strategy in place, and he will. The Knicks got to come back healthy, and they should. And then you got to really, but I gotta believe that among the players and the coaching staff and the management, the whole organization must understand this is an opportunity for them to make some moves. I mean, in terms of getting into the finals, this is an opportunity this coming season because of what's happened with Boston, especially Boston. Like I said, I was never a believer in the Bucks. When they let Jrue Holiday walk, I was like, you just overreached. That happens sometimes. See, people see a big name and they start tripping about getting the big name without really thinking through how that would affect your team in terms of wins and losses. Big names you don't just say, okay, let's go get this big name and that's going to mean wins. No. I mean, look, Kevin Durant was with Kyrie Irving and James Harden. They ain't win nothing. Okay, they ain't win nothing. He was just with Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. They ain't win nothing. Okay, so just a big name don't mean nothing. Okay, it don't. You got to connect as a team. You got to connect as a unit. Kevin Durant's a prime example of that because he had James Harden plus Russell Westbrook, 3 guys that have been MVP in Oklahoma City, and they didn't get it done. And he didn't wait around to see if they could, which shows a lot about him. He jetted for a team that already had 3 Hall of Famers and an NBA championship. When Draymond Green told him, we don't need you to win the chip, he let Kevin Durant know that. Talented, all-world talent, obviously, a Hall of Fame talent. But you got to be able to connect with a team on a team level to win a chip. Kevin Durant is an example of that. I had a dude yesterday talking about go get Ben Simmons. Come on, man. Stop. Oh, my God. See, that's what I'm talking about. Don't just throw up names because they once had a great career. Ben Simmons is finished. I don't know the hex is on that boy. He ain't been good since he was in Milwaukee. There was a time he was, and if he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, he was in the running for it. And, of course, he was a serious player, All-NBA, in his first 3 seasons. But he ain't been that since he messed with them Kardashians. He got the hex on him. He been collecting $40 million a year though. So that's what I'm saying. You can't just throw names out here. This ain't NBA 2K. This is the league, baby. So you got to be. Come on. So the Knicks got a team. They got an organization. They got a culture. We just need everybody to come back healthy. It don't matter, and y'all know and I know. When they put out the schedule, they're going to give the Knicks one of the toughest schedules. They always do. That's going to happen again. It don't matter. If the Knicks are healthy, it don't matter. Now, we talked about so far bringing back Precious. If we could do that. And we talked about Hoop Porty as the youngin that's going to probably get more minutes, depending on how they utilize Mitchell Robinson. And they're going to utilize Mitchell Robinson. The case is he going to start or is he going to come off Mobb Deep? We don't know. So you're going to come back strong. And then again, with Hart and Brunson having played together 3 seasons now, that's not, we're not even talking about college. We're talking about in the league, right? Having played together, this will be their 4th season together. And then you got a 2nd season, a full season with OG, and then McCall in a full season, and Cat in a full season. Mitch Robinson, the longest tenured Knick. We got something coming up. And then you got Deuce coming, not even in his prime, 24. Okay? So, and then we got youngins. We still got some youngins. And now, this is the thing about the youngins. All the youngins are going to get a chance to earn minutes. I feel like that. If Taylor Jenkins coach him, he ain't going to do what Tibbs doing just to dismiss him. But they're going to have to beat out people. And I'm going to tell you right now, ain't nobody beating out Deuce McBride for his spot. I'm going to tell you that right now. That practice is going to be hellified because Deuce ain't just giving you nothing. And then, of course, it goes with everybody. You going to let Precious earn time? If he's on that team, going to be hell to pay. Hoop Porty too, going to be hell to pay. Okay, so I'm excited about our team, but they got to stay healthy. That's the real thing they got to all focus on. Getting their bodies in shape. Hire your personal trainers. Get your diet together. All of that. Josh Hart has experimented with diet, trying to make sure he's ready, and you can see it. He's always ready. Jalen Brunson, too. They got to get ready. OG came in big time this past season. Like I said, 74 games. That's big time. Best he's had since his rookie year. So we need that again. If we could get health, we got the continuity, I think we're going to be in good shape, y'all. So again, but it's not, please don't use the term easily. Ain't nothing easy in the league, okay? It's going to be a dogfight in the East. Like I said, I'm expecting Indiana to still be there. Detroit, Orlando, New York, I'm expecting them to still be there. Boston, because those guys have played together, okay, so you're talking, they don't have Jason Tatum. But look, you have Jaylen Brown. You have Derek White. You have Al Horford. You have Luke Cornett. You have Peyton Pritchard. All these guys have played together for a number of seasons now. So just that, to me, with that system, that's 50 wins, okay? So, at least 48, put it that way. So I think they're going to still be there, but they won't be the threat. They don't have that piece. See, that's what happened. When they won the chip, they had Jason Tatum healthy, and they got Porzingis to just give them just enough to go over the top. They don't have that now, okay? So Porzingis is not something you want to count on, for a chip. They did that in Dallas, and we saw they traded him to Washington. We tried it with him in New York. You can't really count on him as a main piece. He's that piece that'll get you over the top if you get him to the playoffs halfway healthy. And that right there, big question mark with him. So I don't expect Boston. They're going to be a good team, but I don't expect them to be one of the NBA's elite. Cleveland is probably going to start off strong again next year. Probably. Evan Mobley's a year older. The boy hasn't even reached his prime yet. Again, I thought he was going to be a problem coming out of USC, and he's going to be a problem. You're going to still have him. You're going to still have Donovan Mitchell. You're going to still have Garland. You're going to still have all of the guys they had to make the run that they did this year. But you need the testicular fortitude to close out. They did not have it. They have not shown it. The Knicks exposed them when they played them and beat them in 5 games. They were exposed the following year. They were exposed this past season. Okay, and so, there's that. I'm not worried about Cleveland. Cleveland might jump out like a rabbit, but they ain't going to sustain it. Then you got, like I said, Indiana. I think Indiana's going to be tougher than people think. Yes, they lost Haliburton, but I'm telling you, don't sleep on them. They're going to be good. They're well coached. They're tough. They're determined. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder for losing this year. Unless if they have a rash of injuries, they might be affected. But if they come back healthy, it's going to be tough. Detroit, I mentioned. Orlando, I mentioned. So the Knicks are definitely top 3 in the East this coming season. The rest depends on coach, health. That's how it depends, on coach and health. I'm excited about the season, though. Cautiously optimistic, I would put it this way. Don't let the media put expectations of some guaranteed finals appearance. See, because what that does is it causes undue pressure on your own players. Don't do that. You wouldn't want nobody doing that to you. Some of these knuckleheads do that, okay? One game at a time still, okay? One possession at a time. Right now, one workout at a time to get ready for the training camp, period. Let's get ready there, one step at a time. The watchword this time, we got to be methodical. Think of the Don. The Don is methodical. Media is short-sighted, quick-moving, reactionary. Don't be like that. Methodical. Long-term sustainable winning. That's where we at right now. We got a good shot at making some noise this year, but we got to take it one step at a time. Right now, tomorrow night is the draft. The Knicks won't be picking probably until Thursday, right? Thursday, because they're going to be picking in the second round. So who knows what they're going to do, but, we'll see. But we named some players yesterday. I think at least 2 of those players might be on their radar from what we looked at yesterday. To me, the first round, though, I got to say, there's this dude. He is 6'9", Where has he come out of? He's 6'9". He comes out of. He reminds me of the boy I liked last year that wrecked his knee preseason, that was coming out of Dayton last year. This kid, let me see. He's not I don't think he got him listed in the lottery. But I'm gonna tell you, if I was picking in the first round, I'd be picking this boy. What's his name, man? Hold on, I'll get you right here. I'll tell you who he is. He's about 6'9". He's a power forward. He plays a little center too. But Rasheer Fleming from St. Joseph's, 21 years old. Rasheer Fleming, remember that name. They got him as far as the mock draft. They got him going 20th to the Heat. If the Heat were to get this guy, that would be a problem. I think though, see, when I notice a guy like this, all of a sudden he'll move up. Somebody will get him. If I was picking in the first round, Rasheer Fleming. I like this guy in the first round. Above all the other players, I like this guy in the first round, Rasheer Fleming. Last year, if you remember, there was the kid out of Dayton, and he ended up going to Denver, Deron Holmes. I still like Deron Holmes. Deron Holmes reminds me a lot of Elvin Hayes, and I don't say that lightly. I remember Elvin Hayes used to be my favorite player back in the day, aside from Clyde. I mean, off the Knicks, it was Elvin Hayes. That dude was rough. And Deron Holmes got all the same things: 6'10", 236, power forward, can shoot it, can handle it, can defend. Hopefully he comes back from his knee injury, and he's strong again. But yeah, this year, the Deron Holmes is Rasheer, again, let me just, Rasheer Nelson, is that his name? Yeah, Rasheer Fleming, St. Joseph. He caught my eye, man. I'm looking at this boy and I'm like, oh my God. Only thing, and I don't think it's a problem, it's his motor. I'm not saying he has a problem with the motor. I'm saying I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen enough film to see it yet. But other than that, especially you get him in a situation like the Heat, it's going to be a problem. See, they're going to be a problem. So, yeah, Rasheer Fleming. I like him. So, but the Knicks are going to be picking in the second round anyway. So we talking about, the guys we talked about yesterday, Markovich, Thero, Powell, who else? Drake Powell, Markovich, I don't know where that boy from. He's from Serbia somewhere. Yeah, him. Thero from Arkansas. Proctor from Duke. I like Proctor. Proctor's, to me, sneaky, man. I think he's going to be better than people think. Proctor, I like him. And then, you got some bigs. I mentioned the guy from Auburn yesterday. He's possible. And then I heard the name Alex Tui mentioned from Sydney, Australia. He's possible, 6'9", 223. He could probably, I like him. I don't like him as much as the other guys. I actually like him better. I actually like him better than Broom. But, yeah, the Knicks worked him out. So we'll see. But I would rather them get Powell or Proctor or the Thero. A wing that can defend, or a big-time shot maker, and that can defend, or a playmaker, something like that. I'd rather that. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. But there's a lot of options. The Knicks got a lot of options coming into the draft. So the draft is coming tomorrow. They won't pick nobody tomorrow. They'll pick somebody probably Thursday, and they're going to have a whole bunch of on Friday, and next week, undrafted free agents that they're going to sign and bring into the summer league. So it's all that's going to come. Then, of course, who knows what other trades are going to come. Teams got to make trades based on tax bill. You want to know what trades are coming? Look at the tax bills. And look at the teams that's got the big tax bill. What is their chances of getting to the finals? And when you say, okay, they may not be as good as they were, but they got a huge tax bill, a trade is coming. Okay, they're gonna make a trade. Just like we talked about Karl Anthony Towns, Minnesota making the trade a year before it happened. Why? Because we saw the tax bill coming, and they traded $50 million for $30 million. That's a big difference in getting Julius Randle. So, and Julius Randle's a free agent, so they cleared their books pretty well. Other teams are going to do the same thing. You're going to see trades based on the tax bill. The Don has set the Knicks up extremely well. Extremely well. They got a tax bill, but see, put it this way, what are the Knicks' chances of making the finals? I would say this year, if I had to give a percentage chance, I think the Knicks have a 60% chance of making the finals this year. I'd say that they have a 60% chance. That's better than half, better than 50-50. There were years where we couldn't even say 10, right? But with them right there at the finals, looking at the finals, their tax bill is $15 million. That ain't nothing for James Dolan. So yeah, we're in position. They're going to keep these guys and move forward with these guys. You might see a trade in the future, maybe. I doubt it though. Depending on what the tax bill looks like going forward. But MSG, they want to win chips. Y'all want to win championships. So do I, right? So they don't give a crap about $15 million. $200 million? That's another story. But we'll see what happens. But I like our shots. I like what we're looking like. Stay healthy. You stay healthy personally. And let's hope the Knicks stay healthy. And let's hope Taylor Jenkins is the next head coach when they finish their due diligence. Y'all enjoy your Tuesday. So